How cool will it be that we get to sit together, solve a question paper, discuss the passages, tell each other why we think a particular option is the answer? Yeah! This is exactly what we did some days ago. I asked my Telegram group members to join me into solving a question paper that was DUET 2020, my question paper, the one that I solved. I sat in the exam and we discussed the whole paper together. It took us 4 to 5 hours, but then we gave each question the ample time that it needed to be solved. It was just a trial. I wanted to keep it small to see if it works well with 35 people. We had exactly that number of people, and it went good. So now we can come up with live question paper solving sessions on Instagram or on YouTube. But the problem is, on YouTube you can only chat. Like, I can see your messages only, I cannot hear you talking. If you have any other option, please let me know that, if you like this video, or else you can join the Telegram group, and there we can go on with our Zoom sessions and carry this forward. What was also interesting was I shared my DU response sheet, and so there were plenty of mistakes. Yes, there were plenty of mistakes, very sinful mistakes, if I can say so, because there were so many questions that were so evident. The answers I knew, but then I committed those mistakes. So I just wanted to give you the real-time experience of sitting in an exam hall and what was all going in my mind and why I thought that the particular option is the answer, while like keeping my better thoughts aside. I don't know, but yeah, through my mistakes I wanted to tell you what was going in my head and what will potentially be going in your head as well. And so I told you not to commit those mistakes and think, like, how to think through the options, getting to know an answer when you don't know much about the question, figuring out the options. Yeah. But before we get on with the paper, I have two requests. One is, not, please don't judge me. I know I've committed many mistakes, but I still scored AIR 6th, so I think I did well. I mean, I know I could have done better, way better. I could have scored really well, but I was not serious about DU exam. I always wanted EFLU, you know this. And I also didn't have my notes, my books with me. I had only 12 days to prepare for DU, to revise all my notes. So please don't judge me. And the second is, please don't download this video. Just give it a watch. देख लो एक बार, उसके बाद download करो, because otherwise, you know, the watch hour gets really low, and then, like, if you download it, I don't get any watch hour, and then the video is less, like, it doesn't get recommended to other people and it doesn't reach out, so all my mehnat goes waste. But yeah, please don't download it, give it a watch and then download it if you want for future reference. Yeah, go on, let's have the video.
Please don't touch me, and I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, fine. Can you see my response sheet? This is my response sheet. I think it's all clear, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, don't call me ma'am, please. Call me Nisha, call me Dee, but not ma'am. I don't prefer that. Okay, so first of all, we have the first question. Name the only dramatist who was awarded both the Nobel Prize and the Oscar. I don't think we need to discuss anything here. It's a multiple choice question. You know this answer. If you know, you know. If you don't, but then we can always work this out. You know, G.B. Shaw was also a screenplay writer. So why would he get an Oscar? Because he helped in a film or a movie, something like that. So he got an Oscar for the screenplay.
I always had a doubt about films. Like, what is the difference between a screenplay and a script?
Script and screenplay. I did a course in script writing, but I don't really know. It's not like, I think both of them are same. Just that a screenplay is like, the terminology is different, because when you're writing for TV, then you have scripts. But when you're writing for movies, for film, for cinema, in that case, you have screenplays. just the terminology is different, and like you have different ways of writing scripts. If you're writing for TV, your method will be different, but if you're writing for cinema, your method will be different. So screenplay is for cinema, scripting or script is for film, for TV. So you have web series and all the TV series that way. Okay, fine. And screenplay basically for G.V. Shaw, he was the writer of Pygmalion, and he had to, you need to change the form when you are going on screen. So he did that with Pygmalion. So he wrote the screenplay. Or screenplays, it's different from script in terms. A script is usually drama. You can read it. It's not really for putting it on screen. Fine. Here comes
Okay,
my
Dee,
first
thank you.
mistake. This statement, character is destiny, is predominantly associated with Heraclitus, Shakespearean tragedy, Aesthetics. I cannot help this sound, but I hope my sound is dominating than the background noise.
Yes, you're clear. The voice is clear.
Okay. So first, the second question. Let's have a discussion on this. Character is destiny. What do you think? What is the answer? Heraclitus, Shakespearean tragedy, and Aeschylus. If you don't know anything about it all, how would you come to the answer? What would you do? Would you skip the answer question, or I would like more and more people to
When I
participate. Yes, go on.
when I first read this sentence, character is destiny, the first thing I was struck with was Thomas Hardy's novels, because in his novels, like, always there is a the protagonist is suffering due to the destiny. Something happens to him which is not his fault at all, and it arouses pity in us, because we know that the protagonist doesn't deserve this. So character, I think the character is not wholly dependent on the destiny. Sometimes his own actions are also, he's responsible for his actions and the consequences which he suffers. So this is what I this is what I can all this is all I can think of when I read character's destiny. But after seeing the options, like, there is nothing I can come up with.
Anyone
Anybody
else?
else?
Who wanted to either respond to Lavish or the question? Okay, fine. See, what you said about character is destiny. I see the main philosophy of Thomas Hardy is humans are destined to suffering. Like, suffering is the most important and the only determined truth of human beings. Okay, so in that sense, you have a predestined, as destiny means predestined. Okay, so for Hardy, you already have a destiny which will only take you to suffering, because that's the only truth. So you have Tess, you have Casterbridge. What was the name? The mayor of Casterbridge, the main character. Okay, fine, whatever.
Henchard.
So in that case, Henchard, that is a completely different thing. So in that case, the question, character is destined, doesn't hold ground, because it will be destiny's character for those characters, for Hardy. When it comes to character's destiny, it means that your character, what you do, will determine your fate. case, you have your character as your destiny. Like what you do, the strength of your character, your morals, your principles, that will determine your life, your fate in that sense. So there is nothing called fate. Fate means something that has been predestined. Anna, you get my point? Fate means kismat. So kismat se ho raha hai sab kuch. So it's nothing you can do. Anna? But when someone is saying character is destiny, it means it's in your hand. Anna? You are the active agent in your life. It's you who determine everything. Anna? Okay. Now, for Greek philosophy, at least, they put a very strong, they have a very strong faith in fate. For them, fate is everything. Anna, so you have, if you come to Plato's philosophy or anybody's or their drama, Aeschylus, Euripides, in that sense, the mythology, Greek mythology, puts the most important of it all is your fate. You cannot change your fate. Every time you're trying to change your fate, that will lead to tragedy. So you have Oedipus and you have all these characters suffering because they were trying to change their fate. Anna, if you know the story of Oedipus Rex, you would understand what I'm saying. Anna, so I knew कि Aeschylus तो answer नहीं है, क्योंकि वो Greek philosophy में चला जाता है, Greek philosophy, Greek mythology में, and in that sense, your fate is everything. So you cannot do anything. You are just puppets in the hand of gods and your destiny. So Aeschylus answer nahi hai. I had philosophy in my course, so I knew that Heraclitus was completely opposites of all of Greek philosophy. Though he's a Greek philosopher, but he completely contradicts Greek philosophy. I knew this. So I was in some way inclined to Heraclitus. I don't know why I didn't think much of Shakespearean tragedy. It happens all the time. I mean, I did A only. A only means Heraclitus, but the answer is A and B both A and B. So you have Shakespearean tragedy. If you come to think about it, Hamlet, Macbeth, they are all doing, like, all that they are going through is because of their own actions and inactions. Inaction is also a kind of action in that sense, Anna. If you're choosing not to do anything, you're still making a choice. So, Oedipus Heraclitus, Hamlet, Othello, Lear, they are all people of great positions, Hana. They could have chosen to lead a very comfortable life bina koi tension ke. But then it's their actions that changes their destiny. Hana? Their destiny, if I can say so, was to lead a prosperous life. Aram se maze se. Raja hai sabke sab almost. Or they are in a really good position in their kingdom. But then they choose to do certain actions, and that leads to their change in destiny. So, character is destiny is for both Shakespearean tragedy and Heraclitus as well. Understood?
Yes, Dee, thank you.
This question, I don't know. I cannot make sense of it. If any of you can, pick the odd one out among the following.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so my mic has a problem, so I'm a bit late and I'm talking about the previous question.
Okay.
So, while reading Shakespeare, I have come across this statement, character is destined in how it is reflected in Shakespearean tragedy. So, while I was solving the question, I knew that it would be Shakespearean tragedy, but I was, quite the opposite. And I was not sure about Heraclitus or Aeschylus. And my concept about the Greek philosophers are quite weak. So, yes. And I just want to know that, how can I develop the knowledge about them? Not a deep, but at least what is needed.
I would suggest you to read certain dramas of Sophocles at least, because he is the greatest of all. So you need to know. I again made the mistake. Oedipus Rex is the play by Sophocles. Hana?
Yes, I have read it, and only that one.
it's one among the most important of all these Greek dramas. See, in my case, I had philosophy as my subsidiary. I always wanted, like, for me, the best combination that you can have with English is English, psychology, and philosophy, because all three complement each other the best way. But psychology was not a subject that we could have had, but I had philosophy, so I read about Heraclitus. I knew that, and oftentimes if you even search character is destiny, you'll find Heraclitus, because it's his quote. He said character is destiny. And if you remember this maxim that goes, you cannot step in the river twice, you can step in the same river twice. It's his as well, because the river is flowing, so you'll never have the same river the second time. That's his as well. I would suggest you to read a bit about Greek mythology. You can have that. There are many. If you simply write Greek mythology PDF, you will have many short and thick books as well. So I would suggest you to have just a minor understanding of that, because it's the philosophy that it's the mythology that actually impacts or starts the philosophy in that sense. But the most important of it would be you knowing about Plato and Aristotle. These are the most important of all. So thoda bahut bhi if you know na, so you can carry it on. Chalega. Plato and Aristotle are the most important. Heraclitus was a part of our syllabus, तो इसलिए मैंने पढ़ा था. Otherwise, मैं भी नहीं पढ़ती. और I know it was the dumbest of me to not take Shakespeare and tragedy here, because how could I not? Now I question myself. Aeschylus तो बिल्कुल नहीं होगा, because if you know even a bit about Greek philosophy, you would know कि उनके लिए destiny is the most important Greek mythology. Okay, can we move on to the next question now? Okay, the next question, pick the odd one out among the following: Worcestershire, Malgudi, Middlemarch, Yokneam-Patawa County. What do you think would be the answer? How do you have to know what is odd, and like what is the relation here between all the options?
Can there be the use of a local setting? Just like a for example, in Malgudi, we have that.
See, I knew that Malgudi is a fictional town. I knew Yokneam-Patawa County is fictional. I had certain recollections about Worcestershire, and I was just, I was not sure if it is fictional or not, but then to some extent I was. But for Middlemarch, I had no such recollections at that time. I remember the south and the north dichotomy that we have in Middlemarch and everything like that. But I couldn't just remember that it was a fictional city. So in that sense, I made this mistake. I picked Middlemarch because all four of them are actually fictional. Malgudi can be like, Malgudi is the answer here, and I can only think of it as because it picks up certain, like, it's fictional, but then it has its grounds in the reality in that sense. But for all other, I think no fictional town is in exclusion. There is always a certain reality that it holds as its foundation. But I don't know why is the answer Malgudi. Anyone else who knows the reason behind Malgudi being the answer?
I think apart from Malgudi, all the other fictional settings are out of India. That's the only logic I get here.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Maybe
they are all English counties and Malgudi is Indian.
I mistook it as Worcestershire as the answer, which was wrong. And so I think it would be Malgudi.
To say, but then see, Middlemarch is British, I think, है ना? Yogna Padawa is
Yeah.
American, है ना? USA में चल रहा है ये. Worcestershire, I think, is French or German. I don't remember.
No, I think Shire means it is in England. It was
Yeah.
Leicestershire. So I don't know, but yes, Malgudi is the answer. We cannot know at all. अच्छा मेरा ना ये बोल रहा है कि 10 मिनट में मीटिंग खत्म हो जाएगा. What should I do now? It's saying upgrade. Upgrade मतलब पैसा देना, पैसा नहीं है मेरे पास. Should we start a new meeting?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. This is what my teachers used to do.
Okay, fine, then we'll start a new meeting after 8 minutes. Or let it cancel itself and then we'll start. This is another question. Identify the correct statement. A Doll's House is a play by Henrik Ibsen, and The Doll's House is a short story by Catherine Mansfield. It's a straightforward question. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But these are some really very common works. If you need to know, like if you know Catherine Mansfield, you know The Doll's House, because it's that important a work. है ना? तो इसका A and B ही होगा. Both of them are true. A Doll's House is a play by Henrik Ibsen. Henrik Ibsen is a very important playwright. You need to know him, है ना? And why do you need to know him? What is so special about him? Because in his plays, while like he writes problem plays, है ना? And problem plays, you know what is problem plays? Henrik Ibsen is known for his problem plays. Name the other writer. Any other writer who is known for problem plays? Fast. Come on. You need to know this. Problem plays?
Bernard Shaw. Some
Yeah,
plays.
We just talked about Bernard Shaw. He writes problem plays as well. So you have his Widower's House, I think. Some of I don't. Oh, I really need to start my literature again. I'm not really doing any of literature courses right now. Which of these is a type of content word? It is a part of linguistics, if you can say so, but yeah, content words, nouns, demonstrative pronouns, interrogative pronouns, prepositions. If you just don't know anything about content word, you can simply go through the option and find out the real answer, the correct answer. You know, content, you understand this. It's a very operant here. Content means anything that has content, that has meaning in it itself. All the pronouns and prepositions we know, they don't have a meaning in themselves. They represent something else. Demonstrative, that actually represents an object that we are replacing that for. That the book and that you understand what I'm saying. Noun is the only in these options that have meaning in themselves. Noun is the answer. Fine, if you don't want to say anything. Okay. The tragic hero is not depraved or vicious, but he is also not perfect, and his misfortune is brought upon him by his own
Hamartia.
Hamartia, which is usually translated as the fatal flaw, but we know it's not a fatal flaw. It's a
Tragic flaw.
It's a tragic flaw, but then it's more like you doing certain thing that is not really in your control. That's hamartia in its origins. The etymology of hamartia suggests you that it's missing the mark, doing something that you wanted to, but then just missing it by a certain degree. So it's like hitting the bullseye, but then you are all trying to hit the bullseye, but then you miss the mark and hit something else, and that something else becomes the reason for your tragic ending. Understood? We had a discussion on this in the group as well when we were talking about Aristotle, if you remember. Anyone who would like to pitch this for those who don't know? We discussed it in the group. Hamartia. What's Hamartia? I gave you a very simple example that of Hamartia in our day-to-day life. Anyone, please respond.
I recently joined the group, so I don't know about it. Others, please respond.
Yes, please.
So,
We had a discussion on
what is it?
Hamartia.
I mean, all I know about Hamartia is that it's like, as I said, it's a tragic flaw in the character. Like it's like if like I'm a character and I have a flaw in myself that leads to my own misery, and I can't really do anything about it. It's a part of my personality. I think that's what
So this is the modern interpretation of Hamartia that we get from Shakespearean tragedies, and like the time, like we have Marlowe's, Dr. Faustus, and all. It's this explanation of Hamartia that we get from the Shakespearean time. It's not the original, and it's not what was intended to be. Hamartia actually is. See, if you're saying a flaw is in oneself. It is, for example, Macbeth's over-ambitiousness that can be treated as a flaw. It was not really so in the initial. Drishti, can you are you mute? Okay. Yeah. So initially it was thought to be a mistake that you commit by mistake unknowingly. So it's like you are I gave this example in the group as well. You are riding a bicycle and then someone comes in front of you, and just to protect this person you turn your bicycle as a reaction, not really a decision but a reaction to this certain person, and you hit a dog sleeping on the footpath. That is Hamartia, you missing the mark. So if you hit you hit the dog and that dog leads to your tragedy, let's say maybe the dog was owned by a really important person and something like that. Understood? The karma coming back to
John
you,
Wick.
but then it's not your yes, John Wick. The karma coming back to you, but then it's not the karma you intended. That is Hamartia originally, but then for Shakespeare, from Shakespearean dramas and all people contemporary of him, we get this fatal flaw thing. But then flaw has to be in you, but then you're not really flawed. That's why you are a hero in that sense. If you have read Sophocles' Oedipus, that I gave the example really recently, Oedipus was just trying to do what all of us would have done. We don't want to be husbands of our mothers, right? That is what he wanted to do.
Can we consider Oedipus Hamartia was his hubris or pride and his like aimless pursuit for truth?
But then we are all doing that. Like if you are as existential, like you're having as much as like existential crisis as Oedipus would be having, he was told that he will be the husband of his own mother and will be killing his own father. I don't know what would go in your mind, but then to escape that place, and that's what he did. But then the first place he came to was his own father's. I would like you to read something about Hamartia, but then you know Hamartia. Next question. I think we need to discuss this. Dash was intention. That was initially a literary and philosophical movement. It is a school of thought premised on the idea of language as an opaque medium that does not connect an actor with an outside truth, but to a structure with parts whose meaning is culled from the parts contrast with each other. Your options are dialogism, formalism, post-structuralism, psychoanalysis. What do you think is the answer, and why do you think is the answer that you say? Dash was initially a literary and philosophical movement. It is a school of thought premised on the idea of language as an opaque medium that does not connect an actor with an outside truth, but to a structure with parts whose meaning is culled from the parts contrast with each other. What do you think is the answer, and why do you think so?
No idea, ma'am.
It's post-structuralism.
Yes. Why so?
And okay, so I have read the theory earlier. So here the quote is outside truth. So there is in post-structuralism there is no outside truth, and the meaning you derive is from the contrasting binaries. So that is why I think it's post-structuralism from these 2 points.
Yes, fine. And why do you think that I take in formalism? Like, what could have made me think formalism as the answer? I thought of formalism being the answer because I put all my attention on opaque medium, language as an opaque medium. So in that sense, there's nothing beyond the language and the idea of language as something that is to be understood as a structure, as a opaque thing. That made me think formalism is the answer. But then, yes, you're right. We have English language as an opaque medium that does not connect to an actor with an outside truth. There is no other truth other than the language. Like you said, language is the only way through which you can get to the truth, but then that truth itself is part of the language. Anna, if you want to understand this, normally we believe that there is a reality, but then that reality has to be interpreted in the language for us to, communicate it. Anna? Post-structuralism says that there is no truth outside the language. It's the language that molds truth. How we speak about truth, how we understand reality, how we interact with reality, it's all through our language. And language makes sense only because of its parts and how they counter each other, how they are in contrast to each other. Understand this? If you have any idea about binary opposition, like if you know post-structuralism, you know binary opposition, and they are against binary opposition. So they believe that there is no like the meaning lies in opposition, but then there is much beyond that. Unlike the structuralists who are all focused on binary opposition. Can anyone please explain what is post-structuralism? Anyone who knows? Am I making sense? You understand this question?
Yes.
You understand why
Yes,
I didn't
we
understand?
understand.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So you don't have to commit this mistake. You need to actually read the whole question and not really focus on one. You have one more question that does the same with you. And I committed the same mistake again. So I want you to not commit these kind of mistakes. So that's why I'm showing you both my mistakes and the way, and then the reason I thought those mistakes were correct. Okay? Now, it's a very straightforward question. With all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood will clean from my hand? No, this my hand will rather the multitudinous seas in Carnadine making the green one red. The above lines are an example of alliteration, hyperbole, oxymoron, synecdoche. What do you think? Hyperbole, because you know where are these
Yes.
lines from? Where are these lines from?
Macbeth.
Macbeth, Lady Macbeth.
These lines are from Macbeth. Yes.
Yes.
Macbeth said it.
What did you say, Neha? Okay, these lines are from Macbeth. These are Lady Macbeth's line when she was hallucinating. That is a very important part of the whole play. Next, arrange the following sentence in the proper order and choose the correct answer. The uniqueness of. Also, you can get the answer apne aap hi. Sentence to it's not really a literature question. Can we skip this question? Ye aasan hai. Uniqueness
Yes,
of
Jay.
the work of art includes the changes in its ownership, also in physical conditions over the also the changes it may have suffered in physical conditions over the years. Okay, fine. Next question. I was talking about this question. Which of the following statement is incorrect in context to magic realism? It is a natural outcome of post-colonial writing, which must make sense of at least two separate realities: the reality of the conquerors as well as the reality of the conquered. Option B. Magic realism is chiefly a North American narrative strategy that is characterized by the matter-of-fact inclusion of fantastic or mythical elements into seemingly realistic fiction. Option C. Prominent among the magic realists are Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Jorge Amado, Jorge Luis Vargas, Borges, Julio, like Julio Cartagas, and Isabella Allende. There is a distortion effect in the very fiber of the prose that forces the reader to question what is real, to question what is real, and often opens up avenues of reality we may not have thought possible before reading the story. Which of these is incorrect is the question. Anyone? Magic realism, natural outcome of post-colonial writing. Talking about at least two realities: conqueror's reality and conquered reality. Chiefly a North African American narrative. Matter of fact, inclusion of
This is,
fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the second option is incorrect. Magic realism is chiefly a North American narrative. This is not true. Uh, I think it has been written in many parts of the world. Like recently, Haruki Murakami, he's a Japanese author. He's also writing magic realism, and
Someone very
a,
close to
a
us.
couple of Salman Rushdie books.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And why do you think I committed
A
this
couple of
mistake?
Salman Rushdie books are also.
Why do you think I committed this mistake?
Maybe because of the two separate realities thing, because I also got confused there. Like the two separate realities and the reality of the conquerors as well as the
I think
Yes, go on.
I mistook the answer while solving this, and my problem was related to North American narrative strategy because I didn't pay heed to it, though I should have known it because Marquez is one of the first writers of this genre, and he is from South America, so Latin America. So yeah, I think that North American narrative strategy we have ignored it kind of way, and we have given more importance to the separate realities. That phrase.
See, if I come, like, I gave all my attention to the second part of this statement. Magic realism is chiefly a North American narrative tragedy. I completely missed it. I gave much more importance to the second part, that is characterized by the matter-of-fact inclusion of fantastic or mythical elements into seemingly realistic fiction. That is the whole definition of magic realism, isn't it? Matter-of-fact inclusion of fantastic thing into reality. That is magic realism. So
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes.
didn't give any importance to what the first part of the sentence said. My whole attention was ki matter-of-fact. That's correct. It's correct. Matter-of-fact inclusion of fantastic. Of course, it's correct. But the not so
Exactly. And
yeah,
yeah,
that is the mistake I did. I didn't read the whole sentence totally. मैंने बहुत ही confidently first वो मैं इसको आंसर कर दिया बिना सोचे कि क्या है ना समझ रहे हो ना नॉर्थ अमेरिकन पार्ट को मैंने इंपॉर्टेंस दिया मैंने मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट इंक्लूजन वाली चीजों को सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस दिया कि ये सही है तो अब मेरे को था कि ये तीनों ऑप्शन सही है पहला वाले ऑप्शन में आई वाज डाउटफुल क्योंकि a natural outcome to post-colonial writing. I didn't think of magic realism as that. But really, magic realism was a independent genre जो कि आ गया. But then I didn't realize कि ये कब आया, क्यों आया. Post-colonial writing के कारण आया. You have Salman Rushdie writing the same. है ना? हमारे पास independence वाली रात, the midnight children, of course. So it also talks about the same thing, colonial and post-colonial world and how they interact. Because if you read Midsummer's Night Time, Midnight Children, you understand this. But then, उस time exam के time में, I didn't give much more importance. Like I just couldn't think of it as that. समझ रहे हो ना? The second option seemed so correct at that point. Matter of fact inclusion, that's what it is. So you don't have to commit these mistakes. Read the whole sentence, give ample time to all the questions, even the questions that you think are, correct कि हाँ यही आंसर उसको भी एक बार दोबारा पढ़ लो मैं कुछ ज्यादा ही कॉन्फिडेंट थी in that sense.
मुझे
Next
तो
question.
सॉल्व करते वक्त सारे वर्ड्स भी सेम लगते हैं.
हाँ ये होता है एंड स्पेशली एग्जाम में ना हालत खराब हो जाती है एक और चीज मैं तुमको बताऊंगी ना होता क्या है कि यू ऑलवेज है ना जो तुमको सही लग रहा है वो तुम सही करते चले जाते हो जो नहीं लग रहा उसको तुम स्किप कर देते हो कि लास्ट में पढ़ लेंगे एक बार दैट्स व्हाट वी ऑल डू है ना वी सिंपली स्किप दैट क्वेश्चन एंड देन उसके बाद पूरा 100 क्वेश्चंस तुमने पढ़ा ऊपर से DU हैज plenty of comprehension questions so what basically happens is 2.5 घंटे तक let's say 3 घंटे का टाइम है तुम्हारे पास 2.5 घंटे 2 घंटे तक तुमने पूरा प्रोज एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंशन पढ़ा तुम थक गए हो और जब तुम वापस आते हो उन क्वेश्चंस पे which you're not really confident about तुम like you don't really have this ability to think more now because your mind is saturated now तो उसके बाद ना to make correct decisions I think it's really difficult तो वो चीज भी हुआ है मेरे साथ बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस में there are so many questions which I left कि बाद में सोचेंगे and then मैं उसको सोच नहीं पाई because टाइम बहुत था मेरे पास पर दिमाग काम नहीं करता फिर okay this is a very simple question let's not discuss this arrange करना है हमको you can do that on your own okay identify the kind of narrator again narrator यहाँ पे बताना है first person second person third person variable narrator at 6 minutes past midnight Tuesday morning on the way home from a late rehearsal of her new stage show Tina Evans saw her son Danny in a stranger's car but Danny has not dead more than a year Danny had but Danny had been dead for more than a year now okay what do you think is the answer come on first person third person है ना क्योंकि
Third,
yes the
it's
characters
third person omniscient.
third person narration because you have direct naming of the characters है ना Tina Evans Danny तो ठीक है अदरवाइज फर्स्ट पर्सन में आई करके होता सेकंड पर्सन में यू करके होता थर्ड पर्सन में यू हैव डायरेक्ट नेमिंग ऑफ द डायरेक्ट इंटरपोलेशंस ऑफ द कैरेक्टर्स एंड हर हिज करके बात होती है ये भी तुम खुद से कर लोगे आई थिंक इसमें भी अरेंज करना है ठीक है Can we skip this?
Yes, the
This. Which of the following assertions are correct? Lines of iambic pentameter rhyming in pairs form heroic couplet. It's true, you know this. Rhythmic pattern is in a verse, in a free verse, is not organized in a regular metric form. Rhythmic pattern in a free verse is not organized into a regular metric form. This is the whole definition of free verse. Free verse मतलब free है ना? Blank verse और free verse में difference तुमको पता है ना? Blank verse blank नहीं है, वो free नहीं है. उसमें
yes.
iambic pentameter है, but then it's not rhythmic उस sense में है ना कि rhythm नहीं है उसमें और rhyme नहीं है. बस. Otherwise it's iambic pentameter. But free verse is nothing. It doesn't have to do with any metric form. ऐसा कुछ ठीक है? Haiku is an Italian form. You know यहीं से गलत है ये. It's not an Italian form. It's a Japanese form of 16 syllables. ये भी गलत है. 17 syllables होते हैं. Arranged into 3 lines of 5, 6. यहाँ पे 7 हो जाएगा. 5, 7 and 7. ऐसा 17 होता है वहाँ पे हाईक्यू में. अगर वो कंपटीशन होते रहते हैं क्लास में हाईक्यू राइटिंग कंपटीशन ऐसा कुछ. अगर तुमने पार्टिसिपेट किया होगा तो इससे भी पता चल जाएगा. नहीं तो फिर if you have read anything about it तो very good. In Pindar's ode, the chorus chants strophe while moving in a dance rhythm to the right. What do you think? Like how? Which of these are correct? Is the question. बताओ बताओ बताओ. Okay.
A and B are obviously correct, but the option D, can you please explain it a little further? Like, how is it incorrect?
Okay. See, strophe chorus का ना पिंडार का अगर तुम क्या बोलते हो पिंडारिक odes उसमें your chorus is divided into 3 parts. Strophe. One second. Okay. Strophe, antistrophe, and epode. इसमें होता क्या है ना कि when the chorus is singing these stanzas, they are moving in a certain direction, which is symbolic. तो हम symbolism में नहीं जा रहे हैं उसका, but then just that कि एक stanza करते हुए the chorus moves from right to left, दूसरा stanza करते हुए the chorus moves from left to right, and epode में the chorus stands still in the center. This is the whole structure. तो वो आपको एक part of the story बताएंगे, फिर उसका contradiction बताएंगे, and then epode में सब एक साथ होता है. ऐसा chorus का काम है. Now, which part do they sing from right to left and which part do they sing from left to right is the question here. Strophe, it's saying the chorus moves while chanting strophe, the chorus moves from right, moves to the right है ना, moves to the right बोल रहे हैं, मतलब it moves from left to right is their assertion, which is incorrect because strophe में they move from right to left. देखो अगर तुमको ना मैं बताऊं तो मैंने कैसे याद रखा था इस चीज को, वो ऐसे था कि जब तुम S लिखते हो तो you move from right to left है ना, you start writing S है ना, S यहाँ पे नीचे वाले पोर्शन में you move from right to left है ना. समझ रहे हो ना मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ?
Yes.
Yes.
This is your direction of movement है ना, right to left. तो बस मुझे ऐसे करके याद है कि स्ट्रोफी में they move from right to left and antistrophe you know it is opposite of strophe. तो उसके लिए तो तुमको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर तुमको स्ट्रोफी याद है तो तुम खूब सब याद है. तो मैंने ऐसे याद किया था. that was my little trick. तुम लोग भी ऐसे याद कर सकते हो because otherwise ये बहुत confusing हो जाता है कभी-कभी. ठीक है. स्ट्रोफी मतलब this is right and this is left. ठीक है. Strophe means right to left. तो of course your only A and B options are correct. C is incorrect क्योंकि ये ना ही इटालियन फॉर्म है और ना ही इसमें 16 होते हैं, 17 होता है, और ये जापानीज फॉर्म है, और पिंडर का गलत है, हमने देख लिया। नेक्स्ट लिमरिक, पहले आंसर बोलते हैं। A dash is a 5-line poem that consists of a single stanza, A, rhyme scheme, and whose subject is a short, pithy tale or description. ये limerick है, as you know, haiku we just had, उसमें 17 होता है और वो 3 लाइन में divided होता है, 5, 7 and 5 के syllables में, है ना? Ode, you know, it's a much longer form, 5 लाइन का नहीं होता। Villanelle is 19 लाइन का होता है वो। अगर तुमने मतलब Villanelle you usually study उसमें जब तुम क्या बोलते उसको, कुछ पैस्टरिक इकोलॉजी वगैरह कुछ पढ़ रहे हो ना, इकोलॉग्स, इफ यू रिमेम्बर who wrote इकोलॉग्स, उनका स्ट्रक्चर Villanelle का होता है, ठीक है? पैस्टोरल ऐसा कुछ चीज लिख रहे हो तो उसका Villanelle स्ट्रक्चर होता है, दैट इज 19 लाइंस। तो यू नो कि आंसर इज दिस इज 19 एंड दिस इज 5 लाइंस, और ये फनी होता है, और मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम इट इज पिथी इन द सेंस वो इंसल्टिंग होगा किसी को इंसल्ट करने के लिए, फिर ब्लास्फेमस भी होता है। there are many blasphemous limericks in the world, so you can find some अच्छे होते हैं।
So, can it be nonsensical?
It can be nonsensical, but then most of the time it is used for mocking someone. तो nonsensical हो पर फिर सामने वाले का मजाक उड़ाना है, सामने वाले की बेइज्जती करनी है, उस सेंस में आप limerick यूज करते हो, ठीक है? This is again a very straightforward question. Light stresses होने चाहिए, 2 syllables, successive syllables, light stresses, ferric। और डेक्टाइल बताओ, डेक्टाइल क्या होता है? डेक्टाइलिक। ट्रोकी इज ओके, आई एम, ये तुम लोग कर लेना, ठीक है? मुझे याद है, ट्रोकी इज डम, डम, हाँ, इट्स लाइक नीचे नीचे ऊपर, है ना? है ना, सही बोल रही हूँ ना मैं? 2 unstressed and 1 stress is tactile, ठीक है? कर लेना, एक बार रिवाइज कर लेना, इंपॉर्टेंट है करना, कर लेना प्लीज। डिसोसिएशन ऑफ सेंसिबिलिटी, T.S. Eliot, है ना? Dissociation and unification of sensibility, you know, this is T.S. Eliot. Do we have to do you want to discuss anything about it? You need to know T.S. Eliot in his criticism. So you need to know objective correlative, you need to know the क्या था उसका एक और very important one, that too, impersonality, है ना? Impersonality, of course, yeah. And dissociation of sensibility, association of sensibility, his criticism of metaphysics, metaphysical poets, that's very important because it's because of him that we know metaphysical poets. अगर वो नहीं होता ना, ये T.S. Eliot इंसान नहीं होता, तो तुमने कोई जॉन डन की पोएम नहीं पढ़नी थी, that would not have been part of your canonical English literature. Understand this? ठीक है? Like, do you understand this? T.S. Eliot is important, बस। Okay, which of the following chorus? Chorus कौन से में है? In which of these plays do you have chorus as a dramatic feature? Dr. Faustus, The White Devil, The Tempest, and Murder of the Cathedral. I knew कि Murder of the Cathedral में chorus है because you know it's उसको क्या बोलते हैं? Play that is not meant to be played, dramatized. क्या बोलते हैं उन plays को?
Closet drama.
Yes, हाँ. तो Murder in the Cathedral is a closet drama, and वो उसमें chorus use करता है T.S. Eliot, especially in the beginning, introduce करने के लिए कि चल क्या रहा है, and he also uses the chorus to make us understand the mental state of the priest. क्या नाम है उसका? जो भी नाम है, very important one. क्या वो Canterbury Tales में भी वो लोग वहीं जाते हैं, क्या नाम है उनका? Canterbury Tales में?
Thomas Becket.
Thomas Becket. So Murder in the Cathedral is all about Thomas Becket, right? है ना? Anyone remember? मुझे नहीं याद है. मैंने it's more than a year जब मैंने लिटरेचर पढ़ा हो और फिर उससे कुछ किया हो, तो मुझे नहीं याद है अच्छे से सारे पॉइंट्स. रिवाइज करना होगा मुझे नेट के लिए, बहुत भयानक वाला. और देन फिर भी ठीक है, थॉमस बेकेट के ऊपर ही है द मदर ऑफ द कैथेड्रल आई थिंक. एंड इफ यू नो दिस, there are certain like स्टोरी को तुमको थोड़ा बहुत भी पता है ना, तो I think there are 3 points that Beckett is confused about, like what kind of life he wants, what kind of legacy he wants to leave behind, ऐसा कुछ. और all that is going in his mind, we get to know about it only through the chorus, because how else would we? वैसा वाला. तो इसलिए इसमें chorus है, we know this. Dr. Faustus में chorus है because अगर तुमको याद है Dr. Faustus की, तुमने if you have read anything about it, where is the chorus present in Dr. Faustus? White Devil में chorus नहीं होगा because John Webster is writing in Jacobean period, right? है ना? उस टाइम पे नहीं है ना? वो तेरी मुझे सच्ची कुछ याद नहीं है, but please explain why John Webster will not have a chorus. Restoration drama, yes. John
It's
Webster.
a restoration. Yeah.
It's a मुझे ना वो वर्ड ही याद नहीं आ रहा था कि इसको रेस्टोरेशन बोलते हैं. It's a restoration drama, The White Devil. तो वहाँ पे कोरस का कोई कोरस is a Greek legacy, है ना? वो ग्रीक ड्रामा में यूज करते थे. तो restoration drama being the immodest form of drama, if you can say that, उसमें नहीं होगा ना वो सब. टेम्पेस्ट में कि शेक्सपियर ने नहीं यूज किया है. डॉक्टर फॉस्टस में यूज किया है इसका, लाइक कि डी में है, डी का 2 ऑप्शन है, सी नहीं होगा, ए होगा. ए क्यों होगा? क्योंकि तुमको पता है कि डॉक्टर फॉस्टस का जो भी like his selling of his soul and everything, in fact his basic introduction where we are told ki where is the place set, what is the background, all of this is told by the chorus. The chorus comes in front and वो बताता है कि चल क्या रहा है, हो क्या रहा है अभी, और फिर उसके बाद डॉक्टर फॉस्टस की एंट्री होती है. और उसके बाद भी when Faustus is actually Faustus has sold his cell and he has these powers, उसके बाद उसके जो भी एडवेंचर्स हैं, जो फालतू हरकतें जो Faustus करता है. Hello. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you are audible.
हाँ, तो I'm just saying that we got to know of it all only through the chorus. तो तुम पढ़ रहे हो ना, please summary भी तो थोड़ा बहुत like keep your minds open थोड़ा, है ना? ठीक है? तो again ये है lines वाला कि कौन सा line कौन से poem में है. West Wind was part of BHU syllabus, तो I had read West Wind. Nightingale भी हमारा part था syllabus का. और if you know कि जैसे the only problem, जैसे West Wind is a very important poem. You need to know West Wind, है ना? If you know anything about Shelley, you know West Wind. वैसा चल रहा है. Nightingale भी वही है. If you know Keats, you know वो क्या बोलते हैं, Nightingale. The 2 options that we are not really sure about, like most of us, I am saying, is Immortality and Ode to Himself. Can anyone please help me understand कि अगर तुमको आंसर नहीं पता था तो how do you get to it? Because options अगर तुम देखते हो तो while okay नहीं चलो normally लोग बताओ how do you get to the answer if you don't really know any of it. It's not about me ना, it's about you. मैंने एग्जाम दे दिया, ये खत्म.
Okay, so Ode to a Nightingale is in the syllabus, so I knew it. And Ode to the West Wind was not, but I knew the summary. And it talks about revolution and how poet's role in it. So I think according to the lines, it would be wild spirit, which art moving everywhere. And intimations too, I read only the summary and I know what's it about. So Here, our birth is but a sleep and forgetting. That should be part of immortality, and the last one, obviously, an ode to himself.
Anyone else? If you can simply go for the language of all these 4 lines, can you make any?
Now this in this I mean I knew this wild spirit one is from Ode to Westwind and Ode to Nightingale one too. And I don't know first thing about Ode to Intimations of Immortality, but the first one, like our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting the soul that rises. Its language is actually like the words and the thing that's written there is like, I think it's from the Ode Intimations of Immortality.
Okay, see, as I said, most of us are confused about the first and the last line, and odes to, at least you know who wrote Ode Intimations of Immortality, है ना? इतना तो जानना पड़ेगा ना. You need to know this. ये वर्ड्सवर्थ ने लिखा है, ये तुमको पता होना चाहिए. Odes to himself तुमने नहीं पता कि किसने लिखा है, पर फिर भी let's, like वो बेन जॉनसन ने लिखा है. I knew this. I knew कि वो वर्ड्सवर्थ ने लिखा. I knew कि ये दो अलग अलग हैं. और what was also थोड़ा बहुत मुझे रिकलेक्शंस था कि ये लाइन मैंने as first line of poems होता ना, हम पढ़ते हैं ना कि first line of novel, first line of poem, first and last line तो पढ़ते हैं ना normally as याद रखने के लिए. तो मुझे याद था कि ये first line है किसी ना किसी poem का, और थोड़ा बहुत ऐसे मुझे याद था. But most important of it all was Wordsworth का अगर तुम literary criticism पढ़ते हो तो he is all about simple language, common man's language, है ना? Remember what is lyrical ballad and his preface to lyrical ballad? It's all about using common, simple, everyday language for poetry. And that is the whole idea of romanticism. That's what puts a break in the poem, in the kind of literature that we had before romantics. है ना? तो you know कि Wordsworth ऐसे तो नहीं लिखेगा. Wordsworth ऐसा writing तो use नहीं करेगा ना. Where where dost thou careless lie, but eating ease and sloth, ऐसा तो नहीं use करेगा. तो उससे भी अगर तुमको थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया भी है ना कौन कैसा है, जैसे बेन जॉनसन, आई न्यू कि एन ओड टू हिमसेल्फ इज रिटन बाय बेन जॉनसन, आई न्यू कि बेन जॉनसन का ये जो क्लासिकल थोड़ा बेंट है, तो आई न्यू कि ही वुड बी यूजिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ लैंग्वेज, और उस टाइम पे चल भी रहा था यही लैंग्वेज. रोमांटिक्स में आके यू हैव थोड़ा मॉडर्न काइंड ऑफ लैंग्वेज जो कि हमको समझ में आता है नॉर्मली. तो आई थिंक दिस इज you really need to see the sentence, the language, the kind of words that are being used to, if you don't know anything about it, थोड़ा बहुत तो तुक्का मारना पड़ेगा ना कभी कभी. And I would suggest you to मारोइंग तुक्का in DU, क्योंकि DU में you have 4 plus and -1, so you have a 75% chances of hitting the right answer, which is not so. BHU में अगर तुम जाते हो तो you have +3 and -1, where the stakes are really very high in that case, because -1 for a 3 marks question means a lot. But यहाँ पे you can take chances. Like अगर तुम mathematical tricks वाले जो चीजें होती है ना of कैसे तुक्का मारते हैं उसमें जाओगे तो people usually suggest you कि अगर +4 +5 है and -1 है तो तुक्का मार देना चाहिए, थोड़ा बहुत भी लगता है तो. And that's what I did basically. और उसके कारण मेरे बहुत मार्क्स कटे हैं, पर ठीक है कोई बात नहीं. Identify the key features of a Brechtian theatre. Montage, explanatory caption, all-elusive technique, catharsis, and compact plot. What do you think is the answer? अगर तुमको ये पता तो पता है, नहीं पता तो नहीं पता. ये भी उसी टाइप का क्वेश्चन है. I didn't attempt it because I was not sure about what montage is. मुझे अभी फिल्म स्टडीज करने में पता चला कि मोन्टाज क्या होता है, पर पहले नहीं पता था. बट व्हाटएवर इट इज, यू नो कि वहां पे एंटी इल्यूसिव टेक्निक यूज करते हैं ब्रेच में. क्यों? क्योंकि बर्टोल्ट ब्रेच टेल्स यू कि यू आर वाचिंग अ प्ले, He doesn't want you to get into any kind of illusion कि oh ये तो बहुत fictional है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. Bertolt Brecht wants you to think about what is going on on the stage and having a distance from it. है ना? Alienation वाला जो concept है वो सब कुछ तो एंटी इल्यूसिव टेक्निक्स यूज करेंगे. कैथारसिस नहीं होगा बिकॉज यू नो ब्रेच इज ऑल अगेंस्ट एरिस्टोटेलियन लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म. है ना ब्रेच इज अगेंस्ट एरिस्टोटल्स फिलोसफी वगैरह वगैरह. कॉम्पैक्ट प्लॉट तो नहीं होता है बिकॉज देयर इज नो परफेक्ट स्टोरी इन एनी ऑफ बर्टोल्ट ब्रेcht's ड्रामा. कुछ भी हो रहा है, कुछ लॉजिक नहीं बनता मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम. मतलब बनता है बट you need to think about it, but otherwise there is no compact plot as we कि एक राजा एक रानी और फिर कुछ हो रहा है वैसा कुछ नहीं है. explanatory captions they have they वो टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करते थे, प्रोजेक्शंस यूज करते थे प्रोजेक्टर वगैरह पे to explain कि चल क्या रहा है, so that the other like again it's an anti illusive technique. illusion create नहीं होने देता कि you're watching a play जो कि fictional है, fantastic है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. And also it tells more about it, makes you think about all that is going on stage. montage use करते हैं वो लोग, back to back. montage is unrelated elements put one after the other to create meaning. है ना? montage होता है तो that you understand. if there is montage there is no compact plot. उस sense में compact तो नहीं है, tight fitted नहीं है वो plot. है ना? ठीक है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. इसमें सिलेबस बताना है तुमको, सिलेबस काउंट करना है, ये तो तुम कर सकते हो. जीनियसेस ऑफ काउंटलेस नेशन. लेट्स नॉट गेट इनटू इट. what is different is many of them have 9 syllables. like the first and third line has 9 syllables, but then 10 तो नहीं है कहीं पे भी. तो तुम ऑक्टा पे जाओगे, 9 का तो ऑप्शन ही नहीं है, तो ऑक्टा ही आंसर होगा उस सेंस में. ओके ये भी बहुत ही सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है. इफ यू नो साउंड एंड फ्यूरी इज William Faulkner, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Somerset Maugham. Under the Greenwood Tree, Thomas Hardy. Of Cake and Isle and Pale Fire. ओ क्या किया मैंने, सही बोला ना मैंने? हाँ Somerset Maugham है, ठीक है. हाँ Of Cake and Tom Stupid of Cake and Isle. ठीक है. Next. Okay, this is let's have this. Dash was written to be recited rather than acted, but to English playwrights.
I think Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are of Tom Stoppard.
Tom Stoppard, yes, that's what I was thinking. हाँ मैंने सही किया है, ऑप्शन सही है मेरे, but then अभी उस टाइम याद था. Okay, Dash was written to be recited rather than acted, but to English playwrights who thought these tragedies had been intended for the stage. They provided the model for an organized 5-act play with a complex plot and elaborately formal style of dialogue. What do you think is the answer? Senecan.
I think it's Senecan.
Why do you think so? Why do you think so?
Because I have read in Abrams that Senecan was meant to be read, not acted, and it was the Elizabethan playwrights who put it in the book. So that's why.
And
Senecan tragedy actually had a lot of bloodshed. That is why it was supposed to be recited than to be acted.
Exactly, for the violence.
Yes. तो उसलिए उसको बोला गया था. तो वहां से भी if you can simply make out a connection, तो उससे भी अगर तुमको नहीं भी पता है तो you can still make out a connection. किसे लेकिन so much bloodshed, so much violence on the stage, off the stage, in their language as well. So it was not meant to be acted. And it was quite difficult to act these plays too.